This is a follow-up to David Lewis's views on temporary intrinsics, where we are looking at how he deals with people and person stages if he's right about his solution to temporary intrinsics. So what he suggests is that we have person stages. So a person stage does most things that people do. And a person stage, for example, has beliefs, desires, walks and talks, and does the kinds of things that people do. Now, it's not quite clear to me how a person stage can do all of those things, because it seems like doing some of these things at least would cause you to have different intrinsic properties that are temporary, and you still have the same problem. But in any case, he could get around that by saying it does parts of those things without doing, say, taking 4 steps for walking. Maybe there's just a little bit of movement at all. So person stages begin to exist abruptly, and they end abruptly. Now, a natural question might be, how long do they last, as we've suggested with this potential criticism? And Lewis, of course, would not put a time frame on that, but it's clearly a short time frame. So what is his argument for the existence of person stages? Well, we assume that persons perdure. They don't endure. That is, they persist over time by having different temporal parts. Now, his argument for that was revealed in his solution to the problem of temporary intrinsics. So you can see the video about that. And that references to the page number of the book that we're using to get this article from. Okay, so he says, it's possible that person stages exist. That is, it's logically possible that such things exist. A temporary, short part of a whole person. That seems reasonable. It's possible that 2 person stages exist in succession. So they don't have overlap. One occurs immediately after the other. And the second stage has the qualities at the beginning that the first stage had at the end. And so it's a smooth transition, we might say, from one stage to the next. And so that seems possible. And in saying that it's possible that person stages exist, Lewis even goes so far as to say it's logically possible that a person stage just comes into existence, right? And then goes out of existence. So if 2 is possible, then it's also possible that we have a whole world of person stages as described there, and that could be just like our world. In other words, the effects, the appearance could be just like our world. And he goes on to push this point a little further. A world is described in 3, where we have everything made up of temporal parts, including persons, might be just like our world in its causal relations between local matters of fact. So the causal connections between things could be exactly the same if we're talking about parts, or temporal parts, that is, or things as a whole. So the world of 4 would be exactly like ours, just simpliciter. So why would we say that? Our world has everything that 4 has, and 4 has everything that our world has. And of course, whatever supervenes on those things. And here's a potential criticism. This is certainly based in a deeply rooted empiricist assumption that Lewis has. He's assuming if it's going to have all the same interactions and appear to be the same, then therefore it must be the same. a rationalist approach to metaphysics probably would reject this claim. Our world, then, if it's exactly like ours simpliciter, then our world is a world of person stages, and therefore he concludes person stages exist. And that would mean that we have person stages. Of course, persons exist too. That's what you and I are. We are persons composed of person stages. So persons and person stages exist, similar to the way that tables and parts of tables exist. We're only not talking about spatial parts, we're talking about temporal parts. So what are these persons composed of person stages? Well, persons are maximal are interrelated aggregates of person stages. So they are the maximum collection of individual person stages that are related in this R interrelated way. And so we do need to clarify what that means. The R relation is that relation of mental continuity and connectedness that matters in survival. This is kind of a Lockean approach to personal identity over time. And of course, Locke was an empiricist, and it fits with Lewis's view. You have whatever it is that's important for survival, whether that's having memories of previous stages or plans that are fulfilled in future stages. That interconnectedness of mental continuity between stages, that's what persons are when we have stages that are related in that way. Now, by part, Lewis just means a subdivision. So he doesn't mean a very specifically well demarcated subdivision that has distinctive edges, as it initially sounded like when we described the person stages, or boundaries that are marked by causal relations. So it's not like there's this person stage and there's a clear demarcation and it causes the next person stage to come into existence. That's not the way he views this. Now, he does keep this relatively vague, though, in how it actually happens. It doesn't happen that way, but how these person stages are interconnected isn't entirely clear, other than we have the mental continuity and connectedness in order to make a person. Now, clearly, there are going to be some issues to address when we're talking about problems that are common to raise with personal identity. And so those kinds of issues we'll have to address in a separate video.